Nara had never thought of herself as anything but grotesque. Born among the Volari, a species known across the Orion Arm for their dazzling symmetry and luminous crystal skin, she had been the one anomaly in a civilization of perfection. While her kin's bodies refracted starlight in prismatic hues, hers absorbed it. Instead of a radiant glow, her form appeared dull, her crystalline plates veined with fractures that no healing bath could repair. Her people were merciless in their beauty. On Velar Prime, children were taught that ugliness was a disease of the spirit, a corruption of genetic destiny. Those deemed unsuitable were pitted in public, ridiculed in private, and gently urged to leave the luminous cities for the shadows of exile. Nara had resisted for as long as she could, working as a data archivist deep in the planetary libraries, where few had to look at her. But even there whispers followed. "You drink the light and give nothing back," they would say. "A void among stars." By her 33rd cycle, she could no longer endure it. She signed onto a long-range survey mission to the outer fringes, where humans, a young but ambitious species, were rumored to be establishing new colonies. Humans were strange to the Volari. Their bodies were soft, opaque, and crude compared to crystalline perfection. But they were also said to be forgiving. For Nara that was enough. She left Velar Prime behind, vowing never to return. Her ship, the Eclipsera, was a deep space surveyor operated jointly by Volari exiles and hired alien crew. For 5 standard years, Nara mapped asteroid fields, catalogued radiation patterns, and updated star charts. She rarely spoke unless duty demanded it, hiding behind her work as she always had. Then came the mission to Eden 6, a frontier colony established by humans in a remote system. A planet still half wild, half settled. It was here that Nara's life would change. The meeting. The Eclipsera descended into Eden's excess orbit with quiet efficiency. Nara was assigned to liaise with the colonists, to collect ecological samples and exchange planetary data. The humans welcomed them warmly. They were unlike any species Nara had encountered. Their architecture was functional rather than elegant, their technology utilitarian, but they smiled with genuine ease. Their voices carried warmth even when they spoke nonsense. She avoided them as much as she could, until she met Elias Wren, a human xenobiologist stationed at the colony's edge. Elias was younger than most scientists she had met, with sun-browned skin and hair always in disarray. His quarters were filled with sketches of local flora, jars of preserved insects, and handwritten notes scattered everywhere. Unlike his peers, he seemed unconcerned with order or appearances. When Nara entered his lab to deliver a report, he looked up and grinned. "Finally, someone who doesn't roll their eyes when I ask about crystalline exoskeletal resonance." Nara blinked. Humans often stared at her fractures or avoided her gaze entirely. Elias simply looked at her as though she were another colleague. "You study resonance?" she asked cautiously. "I study everything," he replied with a laugh. "But Volari, you're practically living resonance." She almost corrected him. She was broken resonance, failed resonance, but he was already pulling her toward his notes, asking questions, showing excitement. Hours passed, and for the first time in decades, Nara found herself speaking freely. Over the following weeks, their paths crossed often. Elias invited her to help analyze crystalline structures in the local caves. He marveled at her insights, scribbling them down as though every word mattered. Nara, unused to such attention, felt unsettled. She wore her hood more often, hiding her fractured plates. But Elias never seemed to notice or care. He would tell her about his childhood on Earth, about climbing trees and painting suns, about how humans found beauty in imperfection. One evening, as they studied samples by lantern light, Elias looked at her and said without hesitation, "You're beautiful." Nara froze. Her mind fractured like her skin. The word was alien, impossible. Beautiful. She had been told she was a void, a blemish, an error. She could not comprehend it. "You mock me," she whispered. Elias frowned. "Mock you? Well, why would I?" Her voice shook. "On my world I am defective, broken, an eyesore." "On your world maybe," Elias said softly. "But not to me. Not here." For the first time in her life, Nara had no words. Her crystalline plates tingled, almost glowing with a faint shimmer she hadn't seen since childhood. She left quickly, unable to face him, but the echo of that word, beautiful, lodged itself deep inside her. Middle rising, the rift. The days that followed were restless. Nara avoided Elias, burying herself in data, but his words haunted her. She began noticing small things. How humans painted murals on rough stone walls, finding artistry in uneven strokes. How they laughed at flaws, turning them into stories rather than scars. Could ugliness be a matter of perspective? Her people would never accept such a thought. Beauty was absolute, measurable in refractive symmetry. Yet here among humans the rules seemed fluid. But her fragile sense of possibility was shattered when the Eclipsera's captain summoned her. A Valari emissary had arrived, bringing news from home. "Nara," the emissary said coldly, "your exile is lifted. The council requests your return. You will serve as an example of tolerance, proof that Valari embrace even the less fortunate." Nara's chest tightened. She knew what this meant. She would not be welcomed but paraded, displayed as a token, a grotesque symbol of compassion. And yet, wasn't that her destiny? To remain the ugly shadow in a world of light. Conflicted, she sought Elias one last time. He was cataloging samples near the colony's cliffs. "They want me back," she told him. "To use me. To remind others what they are not." "Then don't go," he said simply. "I have no place here either," she whispered. "I am wrong everywhere." Elias stepped closer, his eyes fierce. "Nara, listen to me. You've been told your whole life that beauty is some fixed measure. It's not. Beauty is the story behind the fracture, the light that gets through the cracks. You're not wrong. You're rare." Something broke inside her, but not in despair, in release. And in that moment, the cliffs beneath them trembled. Climax, the collapse. The ground split open. A hidden cavern system beneath Eden. 6 had destabilized from mining operations. Elias stumbled as the ledge gave way. Without hesitation, Nara caught him, her fractured plates cutting into her own hands as she hauled him back. But the cavern's roof was caving in. Rocks fell like meteors, dust choking the air. They ran, but a boulder crashed down, sealing the exit. Trapped in darkness, Elias coughed, blood on his lips. Nara's bioluminescent core, dim though it was, flickered faintly, casting just enough glow to see his face. "You saved me," he rasped. Her hands trembled. "I cannot move this rock. We may both." "Then let's not waste the time," Elias said, smiling even through pain. Nara felt the shimmer inside her pulse brighter. She thought of all the years she had hidden, all the shame, all the silence. And now, in this final hour, a human saw her not as a void, but as light. "No," she whispered fiercely. "I will not end as broken." She pressed her hands to the crystalline walls.